Charles Léon, the illegitimate son of Napoleon Bonaparte, is one of the more obscure figures in the emperor's sprawling legacy. His existence, overshadowed by the more prominent heirs of Napoleon's marriage to Marie Louise, remains an intriguing yet often overlooked chapter in the history of the French Empire. Born in 1806 to Éléonore Denuelle de la Plaigne, a woman with whom Napoleon had a brief but passionate affair, Charles Léon's life was marked by the complexities of being the illegitimate child of one of the most powerful men in European history. The circumstances surrounding Charles Léon's birth were rooted in the personal turmoil of Napoleon's life. By 1806, Napoleon's marriage to Josephine had deteriorated. Primarily because she was unable to provide him with the male heir he desperately needed. Napoleon had already begun to seek other relationships, one of which was with Éléonore Denuelle, a woman who had captured the emperor's attention. Though their affair was brief, it resulted in the birth of a son, Charles Léon, who would spend much of his life as a footnote in the broader narrative of Napoleon's reign. Charles Léon's birth, though an event of personal significance for Napoleon, did not carry the same political weight as the births of his legitimate children. His mother, Éléonore, was a minor aristocrat, and their relationship was not one of official status. In fact, Napoleon's acknowledgement of Charles Léon was largely private, and the boy's existence was kept discreet. Nonetheless, Charles Léon did carry the blood of the emperor, and that fact would shape his life in ways both public and private. Growing up, Charles Léon faced the challenges that came with being an illegitimate child in an era when the social and political importance of lineage was paramount. Despite Napoleon's recognition of him, Charles Léon was excluded from any official position in the French line of succession. His mother's affair with Napoleon, though significant in their personal lives, did not confer any legal or dynastic privileges upon him. As a result, Charles Léon was not granted the same opportunities as the emperor's legitimate heirs. However, Napoleon did ensure that he was cared for and granted titles, though these titles were largely symbolic. Charles Léon's early years were marked by relative obscurity, even though his father's name carried tremendous weight across Europe. He was given a pension and a title of nobility, yet his life was far from the opulence and power enjoyed by Napoleon's legitimate family members. As a young man, Charles Léon lived in France, but he was often at a distance from the heart of the Napoleonic court. His mother, Éléonore, was a constant presence in his life, and she worked to ensure that he was treated with dignity and respect, though his status as an illegitimate son placed him in a position where he was often seen as inferior to the true heirs of Napoleon. Following Napoleon's exile to the island of Elba and subsequent death in 1821, Charles Léon's position became even more tenuous. The fall of the Bonaparte dynasty left him without the powerful protector he had once enjoyed. Napoleon's legitimate heirs, including his son by Marie Louise, Napoleon II, held the true imperial titles, leaving Charles Léon to navigate a world that had little room for a son born outside of wedlock. The restoration of the Bourbon monarchy, which saw the return of King Louis XVIII to the French throne, further marginalized the Bonapartes, and Charles Léon found himself once again relegated to the background of history. Despite this, Charles Léon remained a determined individual who sought to make his own mark. He attempted to carve out a career for himself, and though his efforts were largely overshadowed by the more famous Bonaparte family members, he held on to the hope that he might one day receive recognition for his heritage. Throughout his life, Charles Léon was aware of the tension between his legitimate lineage and his social position, and he struggled to reconcile his desire for acknowledgement with the reality of his status as an illegitimate son. In 1831, Charles Léon made a brief attempt to gain some recognition for his name when he sought a position in the French military, a career that had been central to Napoleon's life. However, his requests were met with indifference, and he was unable to achieve the kind of military success that his father had enjoyed. Though his connection to Napoleon remained a defining feature of his life, Charles Léon's legacy would never be as significant or as powerful as that of Napoleon's legitimate children. As he grew older, Charles Léon's life became quieter, and he eventually moved away from public life. His connections to the Bonaparte family remained important, but his inability to secure a prominent role in French society left him with little more than the title and pension that had been provided to him in his youth. Charles Léon died in 1881, having lived a life marked by both privilege and limitation. Though he never achieved the kind of recognition that his father's legitimate heirs enjoyed. Charles Léon's existence remains a poignant reminder of the complexities of family, power, and legacy. Despite his relatively low profile, Charles Léon's life story is a testament to the ways in which the personal and political intersected in the Napoleonic era. His struggle to find his place within the Bonaparte family highlights the difficulties faced by those born on the fringes of power. As the illegitimate son of Napoleon, Charles Léon's life was defined by the legacy of a man whose ambition and influence reshaped Europe, yet he was never able to fully claim a role in the empire his father had built. Charles Léon's legacy is not one of imperial grandeur, but rather a quiet reflection of the challenges faced by those who carry the blood of history's great figures but are unable to inherit their power. His story is a reminder that even in the world of monarchies and empires, not all sons are created equal, and not all legacies are passed down in the same way. Though his life was marked by disappointment and obscurity, Charles Léon remains a crucial part of the broader narrative of the Napoleonic era, a figure whose story deserves to be remembered not just for his father's fame, but for his own quiet resilience in the face of history's unyielding gaze.